Um, Visually, it was very interesting. It's something I suppose I hadn't really seen before, using three TV screens to portray a story. I thought the visuals for the reconstruction were excellent. They were really good, really added to it. Because I suppose it was a long enough piece, the whole thing. So those visuals kind of broke it up and made it more interesting. Maybe what let it down, I think, was the fact that it was probably too long, and I think the fact that the story was probably too long. It might have been better, like, as in 3 or 4 short stories. Do you know, that kind of a way that they could have done, like, I know it would have added more work, but I think it would have been more showcasing what you were trying to portray of conveying stories and how people tell them, and I like I don't know how to say this, but the fact that I'm actually, like, I am quite an honest person, so I think that actually worked against you too, because I told the story basically as it happened, and, like, I think it kind of, you didn't get the best out of Connor and Austin then as a result, because they were kind of watching it and they were kind of like, oh yeah, 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 do you know, there was, like, and the stuff that it was at the end of it when it was over, the comical part of it, them saying about, oh, he didn't have it hard at all, like, that bit was funny, it was humorous. If you could have had more of that, so it was almost like you would have nearly wanted to have picked people that you knew that would have told the story differently or exaggerated on purpose. I still think it's really looks really nice from start to finish. Obviously, the shot with the two lads, they're flashing, but that's a little thing that all that was just probably a setting on the camera, I'd say. Um, Visually, reconstruction visuals look brilliant. It looks spot on. Like, I genuinely look class. The interview with myself, the only thing you could say really probably is maybe the background is a bit boring. I kind of leave that open to people how they think that one works. Um, the questions at the start of it probably were a bit drawn out, maybe a small bit, only a fraction. I just think a small bit of editing to tighten it up would have fixed that there. Because I like the bits, like, there's bits there where people go, and they're trying to think of what they're going to say, and you're kind of, that draws you in. You're like, what's the whole pause about? You want to know what they're going to say. And then there was a fellow kind of in a brown leather jacket. He kind of said what the question was back, which was perfect, is what you want, like. So then people knew straight away. I just think tightening that up with the screens, there was the middle screen was cinema aspect, which is perfect for the reconstruction. But I was just wondering, like, when it's me on the middle screen, should it probably cut back to the 16:9 and then gone cinema? I don't know. Probably, maybe that might have been too much then on the eyes to watch that. That's just something, you know, that editing wise I'd probably look at. Would that work, or would it be too much? Is it kind of actually too? You're looking at 3 screens as it is, so you want to kind of keep it simple. So maybe that's probably why you decided to leave it like that. Thinking that as well when I was watching it earlier, but then I was like, do you know, like, your whole thing is about people telling stories, and I think the fact that you've one long story, I think you just can't go into one person doing one story. You have to, because that is your project basically, is about people telling stories and how they tell them and so on and so forth. So you can't just, like, I think, I know, I understand what people say, and I thought the exact same, but I was, like, more thinking about what your project is about. I was thinking, if you cut them out, you're cutting out basically practically what your project's about, like. So that's why I was saying cutting them down rather than cutting them out. If you were to do it again, probably pick 3 or 4 stories from people who you know who are not going to tell you the exact truth, um, and then I know it's just, it makes it so hard, the time constraint, and you're trying to do so much on your own in this project. Like, you're trying to be cameraman, you're trying to be the director, the producer, the sound recorder, sound engineer. You're just trying to do way too much. Like, so kind of that, you know, you have to kind of think about that too when you're kind of criticizing these as well. There's a lot there to be done. The only thing I haven't mentioned that I've written down is just purely for a thing for me, is when you had the two lads on camera. I know you were on about, you had the camera in the background with the two fellas. I've said this to you before. Yeah. I know that was to show that there was a camera recording, but personally I wouldn't have had the camera in the thing, because I think it just kind of, I don't know, it almost breaks it. I suppose it depends on what you're going for, but I probably wouldn't have had it, and I would have had the framing a small bit of the two lads a bit better. That's That's all the notes I have. So sound, there was just few bits with sound, but they were just like little bits levels with the sound at the start. But I think the level, um, the levels were good for my interview the whole way through. I think the lads were good. Um, I think the whole was it play. Did you play with left and right? You did. Then yeah. I think that works too because it kind of draws you straight over to the right hand or back to the left. So I think that works well. Um, I actually didn't notice was there music during me telling the story or not. I can't remember. Yeah, that's actually interesting because you'd always assume when you're watching films and stuff there's always music in the background. That's actually interesting. I'd never even thought of that till now. Actually, was there music in it or not? I probably think you could have got away with two screens, alright. That you could have done. See, like the biggest, I genuinely think like the kind of one of the main issues was the fact that Austin and Connor had much to say. I just think if they had more to say, there could have been a lot more done with the whole thing. Do you know that you could have, if using the three screens, then might have worked better. That you might have had me talking about such a thing happening, and then the middle screen you see what actually happened, and then Connor and Austin talking about it actually happening. Or do you know you could have played around with it better, but I think the way it is at the moment, two screens would have been perfect. First screen, myself, and probably the reconstruction, and then the third one, the two lads. I think, or the second one, the two lads, which was the third screen. So, yeah, I think that's probably could have worked on two screens. All right, yeah.